Hello viewers, here in front of you HM Kalita, Senior Faculty Member of Kalita Residential IS Coaching Academy, Guwahati. Today's discussion again from Assam history. Here we will discuss the topic Quit India movement of 1942 and Assam's participation in Quit India movement. Along with that, we will discuss about the freedom struggle at its height. We will also discuss about post Second World War scenario. Here we will discuss also cabinet mission plan and Assam. We also discuss here Assam's response to leaks call, and at the end we will discuss Sylhet referendum and dawn of the freedom of the independence of India 1947. So let us start the topic, and we will start the freedom struggle at the height. As you know, the shocking news of the sudden declaration of the war on 1st September 1939. The shocking news of the sudden declaration of war on 1st September 1939, where Germany invaded Poland and Britain and France declared war against Germany on 3rd September 1939. On the very day, Lord Linlithgow, the Viceroy, declared India a belligerent, a hostile, a unfriendly, and called upon people of India to cooperate in British war effort. Congress, in spite of its high regard for democracy and parliamentary institution, was long resolved not to lend any cooperation to the Britain's war effort. And the government was most hostile towards the hopes and aspirations of the Indian freedom struggle. In the following years, that Congress raised strong objection to the government's sending troops without the consent of people of the country. And also later on, the Congress observed 23rd April 1939 as the anti-war day, and 9 August directed its ministers not to give any assistance to the war efforts. Congress asked the government to state emphatically whether British war aims included the elimination of imperialism and the treatment of India as a free nation. The Viceroy, in a delayed reply, reaffirmed dominion status for India and the continuance of the Government of India Act 1935 till the end of war. So, all this discussion about Congress attitude towards the British government as well as the British, their attitude toward the freedom fighters of the country. The Second World War began on 1st September 1939 and Germany invaded Poland. And there came Britain and France declared war against Germany. And the Viceroy declared India as a belligerent, that is hostile, that is unfriendly with the government, that is people of India. The Congress were hostile towards the British, and that is why the British government called upon the people to cooperate in Britain's war effort. Congress, as it had always the high regard for the democracy as well as for the parliamentary institution, and that is why the Congress resolved not to lend any cooperation to the British war effort, and this government was always most hostile towards the hopes and aspirations of the Indian freedom fighters. And as a result, Congress observed anti-war day, as well as the Congress asked its ministers not to give any assistance to the war efforts of the British government. And Congress asked the British government whether the British war aims, including elimination of the imperialism and also how they treat the Indian, whether they treat India as a free nation or not. Of course, the Viceroy, on the delayed reply, reaffirmed India's dominant status and that continuance of the Government of India Act 1935 till the end of the war. It was at this crisis, it was at this critical juncture, the Nehru urged upon Jinnah, the president of the Muslim League, to join Congress against the British, but Jinnah did not respond. Therefore, Congress directed all its ministers to tender the resignation. At this critical juncture, Nehru asked the cooperation, the support from the Muslim League, but Muslim League President Jinnah did not respond the call given by the Nehru. And as a result, Nehru asked those Congress government to tender their resignation. Thus, at Ramgarh, in March 1940, Congress resolved to launch a mass anti-war campaign in the form of civil disobedience at an opportune moment. As the Muslim League under the leadership of Jinnah, at that time Jinnah was president, didn't support the Congress. That is why Congress asked, the CWC asked its Congress government to tender their resignation, and as a result, the Congress at the March 1940 at Ramgarh, they are going to launch a mass anti-war campaign, that is in the form of civil disobedience at an appropriate time. Meanwhile, there was a division amongst the Congress leaders, because one group did not want to go for those civil disobedience movement. Subhash Chandra Bose and his supporters, that group of Congress under Subhash Chandra Bose and Subhash Chandra Group's supporter, advocated uncompromising stand and to resort to take the even violence in order to achieve India's independence. The faction led by Subhash Chandra Bose and his supporters, they advocated their uncompromising stand to take even the violence in order to achieve India's independence. Under these circumstances, none of the leader in the Congress capable of guiding or dictating the policy of Congress to the satisfaction of the members. There was no leader who can lead the Congress from the front. Gandhiji, however, followed the dictate of his conscience and chalked out a program of individual satyagraha to which all agreed. Now, as the situation is very critical and all are looking for Gandhiji, and Gandhiji, however, on following his own conscience and chalked out a program, that is the program of individual satyagraha to which all the members of the Congress agreed. The Congress started for enlisting satyagraha for the individual satyagraha. Gandhiji, who had already declared he did not want India's independence, India's freedom at the cost of ruin of Britain, and that's why Gandhiji was prepared to wait till the war subsided and refused to be party of the resolution of the Congress members, and that is why Gandhiji withdrew from the Congress. Gandhiji always he believed on his conscience, and he declared that Gandhiji did not want India's freedom at the ruin of Britain, and that is why he was prepared to wait till the World War subsided and refused to be party of those members of the Congress, and that's why Gandhiji withdrew from the Congress. Congress then demanded a national government at the center. Congress, the CWC, now wanted a national government at the center and the Viceroy to act in accordance with national ministry. The Congress now wanted a national government headed by the Viceroy in accordance with the national ministry, besides a definite assurance of full transfer of power after the war. Now, Congress wanted that there should be a national government in India, that of course led by the Viceroy, and Congress wanted assurance, definite assurance from the British that full transfer of power would take place after the war. Meanwhile, the position of allies becoming critical. The Viceroy, as the position of the allies becoming critical, the Viceroy bargained India's cooperation by making an offer, that is on August 8, 1940, the August offer, that is awarded, that was bargained by the Viceroy, because the position of the allies become very critical, and that is why the Viceroy bargained with a August offer. And according to the August offer, the British wanted to set up after the war a representative body to devise a new constitution for India, and also to enlarge Viceroy's executive council by appointing Indian representative. The August offer, that is, given by Viceroy. According to the August offer, the British wanted to set up, once the war was over, a representative body to devise a new constitution for India, and also the Viceroy wanted to enlarge his executive council by appointing Indian representative on his council. Neither the Congress nor the Muslim League accepted the August offer. On being requested by the Congress on 15th September, Gandhiji agreed to resume the leadership of Congress, but did not change his stand on individual civil disobedience. Now the CWC, now the AICC requested Gandhiji to to take the leadership of Congress. And at the last of the request of AICC on 15 September, Gandhiji agreed to resume the leadership of Congress, but Gandhiji did not change his stand on the individual civil disobedience, that is the individual satyagraha. Acharya Vinoba Bhave came out as the first satyagrahi. Thus, the movement started from October 1940 and lasted till December 1941. Once Gandhiji accepted the leadership, and Gandhiji was in his stand of individual satyagrahi, and that is why the movement, individual satyagrahi movement was started from 17 October 1940 and it was lasted till December 1941. Of course, this individual civil disobedience, government did not give any hit. The British government did not take the individual satyagrahi seriously. As a result, the movement did not give any impact on the British government. A further change took place in the international situation. A new turn in the world war. A new turn took place in the international situation in the world war. When in December 1941, Japan entered the war and attacked they have captured Pearl Harbor. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, and Japanese control over the Pacific blocked the Chinese route through the sea. As Japan entered the World War and they attacked Pearl Harbor, and Japanese control over your Pacific Ocean that blocked the Chinese route through the sea. Following the fall of Pearl Harbor, the Congress also started changing its attitude towards the war. As Japan entered into the war and they have captured the Pearl Harbor, that is the fall of Pearl Harbor, the Congress also started changing its attitude to the war. Congress now offered cooperation to the British government and provided British created such a condition in which India could honorably fight for freedom and democracy. Now, Congress wanted to cooperate with the British and asked the cooperation on the basis that Britain created such a situation under which India could honorably fight for their freedom and democracy. Meanwhile, Japanese overran Malaya, occupied Rangoon, and advancing rapidly through the Burma, knocked at the frontiers of India. Now, Burma overran Malaya, they have occupied Rangoon, and they are advancing rapidly towards the borders of India. British government made a conciliatory gesture and sent in March 1940 Sir Stafford Cripps, a member of the British Council, to India, and Cripps personally repeated the August offer. Now, as the Japanese moving towards India, moving towards the frontiers of Indian East, the British government made a conciliatory gesture and sent on March 1942 Sir Stafford Cripps. Of course, Cripps came with the repeated August offer to Congress. The Congress as well as Muslim League refused the Cripps offer. Meanwhile, Japanese advance towards India's frontier created a mixed feeling among the Congress camp. As Japan advancing towards the India and knocking at the India's frontier that created mixed feeling on the Congress camp. While Subhash Chandra Bose, who had already escaped from India in January 1941, was assuring Indian from the Azad Hind radio from Germany that Japan did not have any design on attack on India. As Japan's moving towards India, Subhash Chandra Bose, who already escaped from India in January 1941, he broadcast Subhash Chandra Bose broadcast from the Azad Hind radio from Germany and declared that Japan had no design to attack on India. Between the two choices, fighting for India's independence and fighting on the sides of democracies, Nehru was not sure of his position. Now, in front of Jawaharlal Nehru, he has got two options. Either fighting for India's independence or fighting on the sides of the democracy. Jawaharlal Nehru was not sure to which side he will, give his position. At this critical moment, Congress looked to Gandhiji for guidance. By this time, Gandhiji lost all his faith and physical and moral power of British. Because India at the crossroad, Jawaharlal Nehru was not sure which side he would take position, either with the fighting for India's independence or fighting on the sides of democracy. At this critical juncture, Gandhiji was asked to guide the Congress. Of course, Gandhiji by this time lost all his faith in physical and moral powers of British. Gandhiji, the Congress, long impatient of action, adopted the famous Quit India resolution on 8 August 1942, which subsequently led to the mass civil disobedience movement that rocking every nook and corner of the country. At this critical juncture, Gandhiji, of course, Congress was long impatient of Gandhiji's action. So, Gandhiji adopted the famous Quit India resolution on August 8, 1942, which subsequently the Quit India resolution subsequently led to the mass civil disobedience that rocked every nook and corner of the country. Now, the Quit India resolution adopted on 8 August 1942 under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, and that rocked the nook and corner of all over the country. This all about the starting of the taking of Quit India resolution on 8 August 1942. On this background, we will discuss Assam scenario. The Assam scenario, on this background, we will discuss the Assam scenario. When the war broke out, the Viceroy made the proclamation of, and when the war, Second World War broke out, and the Viceroy made the proclamation on 3rd September 1939, a Congress coalition ministry headed by Gopinath Bordoloi was working in the province of Assam. The APCC discussed the situation arising out of the proclamation of and expressed satisfaction at the attitude taken by the CWC towards the war. CWC asked the Assam government to tender their resignation and India was not interested to cooperate in the British war effort. Yet, the response of Assam Congress to the call from the CWC for resignation of Congress ministry in the province was having a very lukewarm response. Because this was because you know that Assam was bogged down by the local problems of land, language, and religion, and having a section of the members haunted by the specter of Muslim separatism. No doubt, CWC asked the Gopinath Bordoloi ministry to tender their resignation, but the Assam at that time bogged down with lot of problems like local problems of land, language, and religion, along with that having a section of the members haunted by the Muslim separatism. The APCC began to fumble. At this moment, the APCC Assam Pradesh Congress Committee began to fumble. A section of the Congress led by its president Mohammad Taibullah is of the opinion, and he opposed continuance of led by the Gopinath Bordoloi ministry. The Congress in Doldrum, Congress began to fumble. The section led by its president Taibullah opposed the continuance of the Bordoloi ministry, whereas others wanted it. The other group wanted the Gopinath Bordoloi to stay in order to check the Muslim leagues, which was believed to have been conspiring to make Assam a Muslim predominant province. There are two groups in Assam. One group, led by Mohammad Taibullah, wanted that Gopinath Bordoloi ministry should resign, whereas the other group, they are thinking of the Assam situation. The other group, they want that Gopinath Bordoloi ministry should continue in order to check the Muslim League, which was believed to have been conspiring to make Assam a Muslim predominant province. Subhash Chandra Bose also opposed the resignation of Gopinath Bordoloi ministry. Gandhiji, though he appreciated Subhash Chandra Bose's view, but Gandhiji held that the matter should be left to Assam's discretion. Gandhiji, of course, supported Subhash Chandra Bose's view of continuance of the Gopinath Bordoloi ministry, but Gandhiji appreciated, but according to Gandhiji, the matter should be left to Assam's discretion. Finally, APCC discussed the matter in a meeting on 7 November 1939 and decided to direct the ministry to tender the resignation not later than 15 November. Ultimately, decision taken under the leadership of the President Mohammad Taibullah and asked the Gopinath Bordoloi ministry to resign not later than 15 November. As a result, the first Gopinath Bordoloi ministry resigned on 16 November 1939. But at the same time, Gopinath Bordoloi was with a view to carry out a fresh plan to install a new coalition ministry headed by Nicholas Roy with the necessary support from the Congress. This was, of course, intended to prevent Sadullah's ministry to come, because Sadullah was ready to take over his next tenure as a chief minister. So in order to stop Sadullah from assuming the ministry, Gopinath Bordoloi wanted to had a new plan, and he wants to install Nicholas Roy with the necessary support from the Congress. But Gopinath Bordoloi's plan did not materialize, and as a result, Sadullah ministry did emerge again on the scene with larger strength and a commitment to the war efforts. And the Sadullah ministry took charge on very next day, that is 17 November 1939. So, second Sadullah ministry assumed charge on 17 November 1939, and this time Sadullah ministry came with larger strength and commitment to the British war effort. Sadullah also headed a provincial war committee and established its branches in all the district headquarters. Of course, APCC did not associate it with the Sadullah's this program of war effort with them. So Sadullah headed a new ministry, and they have started the provincial war committee in the all headquarters of the province. Of course, APCC did not associate itself with any of them. Since the outbreak of the war, Section 144 was in force in the maximum district of the province, and in Lakhimpur district also there was the 144 was imposed on it, and as a result, anti-war propaganda of any form was not allowed in Lakhimpur district also. The district Congress committee of the Lakhimpur then converted themselves into district Satyagraha committees and held meeting to propagate the anti-war message in the villages and to encourage people to take the Satyagraha. Courting arrest of Satyagraha rose to 1,576 till by June 15, 1940 in the Brahmaputra Valley, whereas in the Surma Valley, the courting arrest of the Satyagraha rose to 2,470 by the same date. Of course, the left, these nationalists and the communists were not so much in favor of the individual Satyagraha, and that is why they have not supported the individual Satyagraha by those left and communist. Muslim conspiracy to include Assam to Pakistan and accompanied by a threat to the cultural and linguistic identity of Assamese people, which then seemed to be far greater than the old threat from the Bengalis. Now Sadullah ministry there, and the Muslim conspiracy to include Assam in the Pakistan, and also that was accompanied by the threat of cultural and linguistic identity, the threat of culture, the threat of linguistic of Assamese people, and which become more, dangerous when the problem become far greater than the old threat from the Bengalis. In July 1940, Sadullah government contributed 1 lakh rupees to the British War Fund and adopted various devices to extract more money from the people for that purpose. July 1940, Sadullah government contributed 1 lakh rupees to the war fund and also devises more measures in order to secure more money for the purpose. Salaries of government officials were deducted. War saving schemes of ARTC were introduced, and film shows, archery competition were arranged at different places. The Sadullah government, in order to raise war fund, the Sadullah government has deducted salaries of the government officials. They also war saving schemes of ARTC introduced, and also film show and archery competition were held in order to raise fund for the war fund. Even Mojadar refused to accept those revenues from the peasant unless the peasant made substantial contribution to the war fund. So even the Mojadars, they are not limited to the collection of revenue of the land. They also collected war fund from those peasants. 11 Congress members of Tezpur local board 11 Congress members of Tezpur local board led by Jyoti Prasad Agarwala resigned in a body to record their protest against the contribution of 3,000 rupees to the war fund. 11 Congress members led by Jyoti Prasad Agarwala from Tezpur local board, they resigned because the board contributed 3,000 rupees to the war fund. Now, the 22 prominent leaders of Assam, all legislators representing the people and duly selected for purpose of the first batch of individual satyagraha in the province. Now, people, mainly those legislators, first batch consists of 22, leaders, those mainly from the legislators, they are selected, those 22 prominent leaders are selected for the purpose form the first batch of individual satyagraha in the province. By August 15, 1941, government collected an amount of 11,27,996 towards the war fund. The Sadula ministry by this time, that is 15 August 1941, collected an amount of 11,27,996 for the war fund. When the Sadula government took the advantage of the Congress legislators' prolonged absence from the assembly and announced the land development scheme of 28 July 1941, it only stirred up a general discontentment among the masses. As the Congress legislature, because of their prolonged absence from the assembly, the Sadula government took the advantage and they have announced the land development scheme on 28 July 1941, and as a result, the people had a general discontentment against the land development scheme, because this land development scheme was the colonization scheme and allow greater relaxation of the line system. This land development scheme allow greater relaxation to the line system that helps the settlement of Muslim immigrants from the East Bengal. While recommending the abolition of the practice of issuing domicile certificate, now the Sadula government recommended for abolition of the practice of issuing the domicile certificate, and the Sadula government suggested that birth in the province or 10 years of residence were enough, that should be regarded as sufficient proof of domicile. Now, that Sadula government recommended for abolition of the issuing of domicile certificate and suggested that birth in the province or 10 years of residence should be regarded as sufficient for the proof of domicile. The Bengali community had been raising the demand of equal citizenship right and education through the medium of mother tongue for years. The Bengali community, they are raising the demand for their equal citizenship right, and they should get the education through their mother tongue, and this was the demand of Bengali for years. And that is why the Bengali community formed Assam Domicile and Settlers Association early in 1935 and used this as the platform for implementation of CWC award in Assam. Looking at this scenario, those practices of Sadula ministry, the Akhomia Hongrakkhane Hobha hinted to Jawaharlal Nehru in its representation to Jawaharlal Nehru during his Assam visit that even the idea of secession of Assam from India, that being mooted by the section of the Assamese intelligentsia. If things were moving in this direction. The Assamese intelligentsia, they even mooted the idea of secession of Assam from India. This the representation given by Ohomia Hongrakkhane Sabha to Jawaharlal Nehru's visit to Assam. In September 1942, Ambika Giri Rai Chaudhuri came out with his well-known proposal for dual citizenship in Indian Confederation, which normally was the indication of the depth of his anxiety and about the cultural identity of the Assamese people. Looking at those scenarios, Ambika Rai Chaudhuri came out with the well-known proposal of dual citizenship for the Assamese people within this Indian Confederation. This shows that the indication of depth of the anxiety about the cultural identity of the Assamese people. This situation arising out of the immigration problem compelled Gopinath Bordoloi to proceed personally to Wardha and to seek permission from the CWC, that is Congress High Command, for the legislature to resume their assembly duties. Of course, the permission Gopinath Bordoloi obtained from the CWC. Now, soon the Sadullah ministry faced a crisis led to the collapse of the Sadullah ministry. This crisis, the fall of the Sadullah ministry was not because or not created by Congress or by the Hindu Mahasabha or the Ohomia Hongrakkhane Sabha, but the students who directly confronted the government not in the local level but on the national front. The challenges of Sadullah government were efforts. Now the Sadullah government faced its crisis. It's about to fall. The crisis was not by those Congress or by the Hindu Mahasabha or by the Ohomia Hongrakkhane Sabha. It was by the student in the national level, not even the local level. This is because of the challenges, because of the war efforts of the Sadullah government. Cotton College students who protested against the raising of war fund by holding a science exhibition in their laboratory went on strike on 6 December 1941. The Sadullah government organized a science exhibition in the laboratory of Cotton College, and that is why, just to raise the fund, that is why Cotton College students went on strike on 6 December 1941, and those students of Cotton College raising slogan like "Not a man, not a pie" to the war fund. Those Cotton College students protested against the holding of the science exhibition in the laboratory of Cotton College, and this exhibition was to raise the war fund, and Cotton College Students Union raising the slogan like "Not a man, not a pie" for a war fund. Then the Deputy Commissioner ordered lathi charge on the striking Cotton College students. Altogether 40 students were injured and nearly 200 students were assaulted. This created great indignation towards the Sadullah ministry, and country-wide reaction to this incident precipitated the fall of Sadullah ministry. In view of this development, Sadullah submitted his resignation on 12 December 1941. Because of the pressure from the students community of the national level, Sadullah ministry had to submit his resignation on 12 December 1941. The governor, by a proclamation, took over the administration of the province on 25th December 1941. This all about the scenario of the preparation of the scenario for the preparation for the national struggle of 1942, and about the Sadullah ministry, about function of Sadullah ministry and fall of the second Sadula ministry in the province of Assam. Now we'll discuss about the Quit India movement, that is national struggle of 1942, that struggle of, we'll discuss here one by one. As you know, the Quit India resolution of AICC created great excitement throughout the country. The resolution of Quit India, movement that created great excitement throughout the country. Civil disobedience program was chalked out by Gandhiji, that includes, that is, civil disobedience program included strikes and hurtals, picketing and hunger strikes, general defiance of law and establishment of parallel government. The civil disobedience program included strikes and hurtals, picketing, hunger strikes, general defiance of the law and establishment of parallel government. Gandhiji gave the famous call to the Indians, that is a do or die. Do or die, the famous call given by Gandhiji in the 42nd struggle, that is in Quit India movement. Government struck the first crushing blow by arresting Gandhiji and also members of CWC and large number of congressmen throughout the country on the very following day of the passing of the Quit India resolution. The very next day of Quit India resolution, Mahatma Gandhi was arrested along with many members of the CWCs and the other members of Congress throughout the country. And government also declared the Congress an illegal body. All over the country there were hurtals, strikes and demonstrations which were attempted to be repressed by the government by through lathi charge and firing. In many places people seized temporary control over town, cities and villages and set up parallel government. In Assam also, within a week from the declaration of the Quit India resolution, all important Congress leaders including Muhammad Taibullah, president of APCC, was also detained and he was put behind the bars. Even Gopinath Bordloi, Hiddinath Harma, they were arrested at Dhupri. Even Pitambar Devagoswami, the Hottradikar of Gormur Hotra, and his deputy Krishna Devagoswami was also arrested. Later, like the other counterpart, other parts of India, the people of Assam also defied the creed of non-violence by taking sabotage activity. Now, as the repressive measure was very much there, that is why, like other counterparts, like other parts of the country, even the people of Assam also defied the creed of non-violence and they have taken to sabotage activities. And official report records from August and onwards, sporadic arson and derailment of railway lines and the telegraph occurred in Assam, mainly particularly in the Kamrup, Nagaon, Dorong, Sibsagar. These were the sporadic arson and the derailment interference of the railway lines, even in the telegraph occurred. And in Assam, mainly in the district of Kamrup, Nagaon, Dorong and Sibsagar. We are going to discuss some of those incidents arson in Assam. At Borpeta, the agitating crowd even destroyed the houses of the Muljadars and the Mandals. At Sarvuk, the aerodrome under construction by the British government was raided by the people and military dumps and MES offices were raided by the people. At Nagaon, many lost their lives before the armed atrocities. Even at Palakbari, a protest was observed against such actions of the government. Because of the government repressive measure, people at Palakbari, they have observed, against protest against those the repressive measures of the government when the student named Madan Chandra Bormon and another man named Ryutaram Boro lost their lives before the armed bandits. At Brahmpur, while the people were celebrating the occasion of recapturing the Hanti Henna campaign on 18 September by holding public meeting and community feast, the police took to actions causing death of Lakshmikanto Hazarika, Thogiram Sood, Bolaram Sood, Bhogeshwari Phukotni, and aged lady. So in Brahmpur, the people were recapturing the Santi Sena camp and they were celebrating that function by they have also have a public meeting as well as they have got a community feast, and the police took to action, and in that action Lakshmikanto Hazarika, Thogiram Sood, Bolaram Sood, and Bhogeshwari Phukotni, an aged lady, also lost their lives. And at Thekiajuli on 28th September, about 5,000 people led by Kamala Kanto Das proceeded to hoist a Congress flag in the police station. The police resorted to firing, killing 8 persons and the spot, including 3 women. At Gaupur, a similar incident occurred at Gaupur when Kanaklata Burwa, an 18-year-old girl leading about 5,000 people from Sidewar to hoist a Congress flag in front of the local police station at Gaupur, and the 18-year-old girl Kanaklata Burwa shot dead by the police. In that firing also, Mukundo Kakoti and Hemkanto Burwa sustaining serious injury, and they died immediately after. Even at Borpuja, Tilok Deka, a night Chokidar guarding the village at Borpuja at night, was shot dead by the military when the Tilok Deka, when blowing his horn to inform the villagers about the coming of the military towards their village. At Horu Pothar, that is in Golaghat district, Horu Pothar and Golaghat district, Kukhal Kuar, the secretary of the local Congress committee, and he was executed on 15 June 1943 for alleged implication in Horu Pothar train derailment case, and along with Kukhal Kuar execution, 3 other co-accused were also given the 10 years imprisonment. Lathi charge was made extensively in town of North Lakhimpur, Dholpur, Bipuria, Dikhoghat, Tezpur, Thekiajuli, Bihali, Borpeta, Shibohagor, Nitai Pukhuri, Tiok, Dergaon, Golaghat, Nagaon, etc. Moreover, the Lathi charge took place all over the Assam. There was also underground workers. They are carried out vigorous no-tax campaign and encouraged the people to resort to arms against the British. The underground activity also started in Assam. The Radical Institute of Guwahati sponsored the use of the indigenous arms. In many places of Kamrup, country bombs were also manufactured. In December 1942, there were reports of bomb explosion in different places of Kamrup, even in the classroom of the Cotton College. In places like Nolbari, Patasakusi and Nagaon, government guns were stolen, causing great alarm to the district authorities. Parallel government were also established at Jamuguri and Sotia Bajali. During the period, a number of special ordinances were imposed by the government. The press was completely censored. Cases of police excess committed in North Lakhimpur and other places. Women volunteers also had to undergo physical torture at the hands of police. Kamala Miri, a detainee in Jorhat jail, who had been ailing for some time, and when Kamala Miri refused to submit to a conditional release, Kamala Miri died on 22nd April 1943 due to the lack of treatment. The shooting of Nidhiram Kos, a person, a peasant of Gwalpara, for his failure to pay the collective tax, collective fine that Nidiram Koch was shot dead by the police. Also, Aruna Ashraf Ali used to visit Guwahati and meet those underground leaders. So, Hemchandra Barua, an ailing congressman of Guwahati, acted as the liaison officer and guided those activities. Most noted among the underground leaders were Mahendranath Hazarika and Lakshmi Prasad Goswami of Nagaon, then Jyoti Prasad Agarwala and Gahan Chandra Goswami of Tezpur, and Shankar Prasad Barua of Golaghat. Those are the underground leaders, that is Mahendranath Hazarika and Lakshmi Prasad Goswami of Nagaon, Jyoti Prasad Agarwala and Gahan Chandra Goswami of Tezpur, and Shankar Prasad Barua of Golaghat. Ohinka Biplobi Hongho at Borpeta, Hanuman Party at Jala, Karma Porikhot at Bajali, Mitru Bahini, founded by Pushpalta Das at Nagaon, engaged themselves in violence activity, underground activity in the province. In order to provide settlement of those fresh immigrants, the Assam government led by Sadullah adopted the instance of Government of India a new resolution on land development on 24th August 1943. You should know that Sadullah ministry came for the third time on 25th August 1942. Sadullah ministry, after assuming the new office, the Sadullah ministry brought a new settlement, policy for those settlement of the fresh immigrants, and the slogan was "Grow More Foods," which was of course the Viceroy well interpreted as "Grow More Muslim." The resolution provided for opening of the grazing reserve in the districts of Nagaon, Dorong and Kamrup to the land-hungry immigrants cultivated from the Bengal. And these are the new schemes brought by the third Sadullah ministry in Assam. Thus, this has caused fresh anxiety to the Assam Jatiyo Mahasabha and also to the All India Hindu Mahasabha, who raised the cries of the Assamese and Hindu being in danger. So, looking at those effort by the Sadullah ministry, and that is why the Assam Jatiyo Mahasabha and All India Hindu Mahasabha, they raised that Assamese and Hindu were in danger. On the other hand, Bengali Muslim immigrants and their leader Bhasani, who was the president of Provincial Muslim League, would not rest content without abolition of the line system. This has led to the conflict between Bhasani and Sadullah. The Provincial Muslim League, President Bhasani, he wanted to abolition of the line system, and that brought conflict between the Bhasani and Sadullah. Meanwhile, this is all about the preparation of the Quit India movement, and this is about the 1942 struggle, the Assam's participation in Assam. We talk about the Sadullah ministry, second ministry. We talk about the third Sadullah ministry that came into power in 25th August 1942, and it lasted, of course, 11 February 1946. So, we'll discuss in the next topic about the partition formula given by C. Rajagopal Asari. So, this is the first part of our discussion. Second part, we'll discuss about those related to our talk from the partition formula. Then we'll go to the cabinet formula. Like that, we'll go 3-4 topic in this lecture. But before that, we want to talk about those leaders of your Quit India movement. Those leaders, mainly you should always keep in your mind, mainly those who are the leaders who are the martyred, those who are, fell in the bayonet of, police, and they lost their lives during the Quit India movement in Assam. So I am giving the name of those leaders. You can talk about those leaders, like leaders where you can say Madan Chandra Burman, Riu Taram Boro, Lakshmi Kanto Hajarika, Thogiram Sut, Boloram Sut, Bhogeshwari Fukenuni, and Konaklata Borua, then Kamala Miri. And we can talk about Mukundo Kakoti, Hemkanto Borua, and Tilok Deka, Kukhol Kuor. Those are the leaders. They lost their life in the 42nd struggle for independence. This is all about the first phase of our discussion. Next, we'll talk in the next part.